It's true. Depends on who you ask. Okay, good morning, everyone. We'll get started. Don't forget to turn off the sound on your gadgets. Any paperwork goes to Mr. Curran there, who is the Sergeant of Arms. We're going to be led in an invocation by Chaplain Mike Austin of Midway Baptist Church, and then Julie will lead us in the pledge. If you wish to join in either or both, please stand. Pastor.
Well, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Before I open up, this is a blast from the past. I used to be the shipping and receiving clerk here 35 years ago for Whirlpool when it was KitchenAid. So this is almost like you got to be kidding me, coming back after 35 years. So thanks for the opportunity. Heavenly Father, Lord, I'd just like to take this moment to thank you for the privilege of leading this prayer, Father, as these men and women gather. Father, we just ask for your wisdom and understanding in this meeting. Father, it's just a privilege just to be here and to be a part of this awesome thing that goes on here and to be invited in. We just ask for your wisdom and your presence and all the decisions that are made for this great state and for this county, Father, and for these commissioners that give so freely of their time to come in and help. I pray all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, please. You're getting
On behalf of Marion County, this is Ken. Thank you for coming today, and thanks very much.
Thanks very much. Okay, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Bell. Curran.
Here.
Freeling.
Present.
Harrison.
Here.
Hinkleman.
Here.
Majerick.
Here.
Ott.
Here.
Pitchford.
Here.
Ballrath.
Here.
Werfel. Here. Yarborough. Elliott.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. Somehow it got to be March. The minutes from the 23rd of February need to be approved. Haven't received anything indicating changes are needed. So is there a motion to approve? Moved by Freeling, supported by Ott. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those minutes are approved. Madam Clerk, I understand we have some communications.
Yes, you received 3 resolutions. A resolution from Lapeer County Board of Commissioners honoring the Michigan Association of Counties on its 125th anniversary, received on February 24th. A resolution from Lapeer County Board of Commissioners to instruct our representatives to oppose all firearms control legislation, received on February 24th. A resolution from Sheboygan County Board of Commissioners urging repair of the Cornwall Creek flooding dam, received on February 28th. That's all.
Thank you. We don't have a lot of them, but if you want to say anything about resolutions, now's the time to do so. Christopher, did you have something about resolutions or? Oh. Okay, well, we'll hold on to that thought. It'll be even more fun by the time we get to it, I think. Okay. Anyone have anything to say about the resolutions on the agenda? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar as submitted?
And there's an added.
Yeah, well, that's true. This is including 3155, 56, and 57 on the consent calendar, just for the clarity of the record. Thank you.
Yeah.
And is your motion still
To
good
include
to include
the
all
added,
those?
yes, sir.
Okay. Is there support?
Support.
Moved by Freeling, supported by Pitchford. Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Curran,
Yes.
Freeling,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Hinkleman,
Yes.
Majerick,
Yes.
Ott,
Yes.
Pittsford,
Yes.
Walrath,
Yes.
Werfel,
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes,
Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas.
thank you. Committee reports, Mr. Vice Chair of Finance.
Thank you, Ben. I'll be very brief. We approved the minutes. We paid the bills today. We also discussed board appointments very briefly and approved with Annette some individuals for the Berrien Bus Transportation Advisory Board. But not ready to put those names forward until next week, I think is where she's at. She's going to do a little more background. And then we also took care of some waivers that were out there. We had 5. And the waivers were for sweeper rental, for Great All Safety Training. Both those were for the 2 separate waivers, but both for the road department, cross-country ski equipment for the Parks and Recreation, network storage from IT, from our IT department, and then some construction management, owners representative services for building and grounds. And we approved all of those. And I think there's a resolution that'll follow on the one for the construction services.
Yeah, that's correct. So next week, we'll run a resolution out of admin. So we'll have an A resolution coming forward on the construction management services.
Good, and that's all. That's our report. Any questions?
Okay, Mr. Chair of Personnel and Human Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We also met this morning, had a number of issues to discuss. One that you just acted on, the collective bargaining agreement. So we reviewed, considered that and approved that. Also, we talked about some issues involving attendance at boards that we appoint individuals to. And so we will reach some conclusion on that here in the next several months. And we continued our discussion about mileage for commissioners. So we'll bring that up again at our next meeting. We reviewed and approved and we'll recommend to you at your next meeting extension of the concession agreement for Silver Beach. We also heard about the management supervision of building projects that Mr. Hinkleman just talked about, and we were concurred with that. And then also had a lengthy presentation from Christine Van Landingham, the director of the Area Agency on Aging. That was very informative. And we've got a couple issues that we'd like to talk with her about at a later date. So ones that have surfaced here at the board and at our committees. So we had a good meeting. And then we also had several guests come in and we quizzed them about several things. So that was about the end of our meeting.
Thank you. Any questions for PHS? Mr. Admin Chair.
Thank you, Mac. First in to see us this morning was Under Sheriff Chuck Height, and Commissioner Volrath would like to report out on that.
Yeah, thanks, John. I came all the way back from Florida to be with us today because the sheriff had other business to do with his grandson going to state in wrestling, which is exciting as all get out. One of the issues we talked about today was Countryside Academy, who's had a resource officer, I believe, for the last year. They found out the state is offering some grants for that, and they've asked to apply for that grant. And Chuck asked for us, we're gonna have a resolution, you may have heard or seen it this morning already, for them to get some funding for that, and it's going very well, so they want to keep that officer there. Also, there was over 30,000 meals served in February, which is down about 4,000 because February is a short month. We had some officers who won awards, and I'd like to speak about them for a little minute here. Detective Sergeant Corey Peak was the Deputy of the Year for 2022. Sergeant Tom Fogarty was the Deputy of the Year of the Mounted Division 2022. Sergeant Andy Archer was Reserve Deputy of the Year 2022. And Dennis Matthews was the Victim Services Unit Volunteer of the Year for last year. And also we had some new hires, and when I found them here. They were here. Anyway, they're in your packet from Peggy, and you'll see them in the report for the sheriff this month. That's all my report.
Thank you, Dave. After the undersheriff was in to see us, we had Chris Smith, Brian Doucette, and Terry Frayling in to see us and talk to us about the building and grounds maintenance contract, which I think Brian has talked to all the other committees about. We were all in favor of it. And like Brian said, that will be coming through admin as an authorizing resolution. We had the two resolutions on today's added calendar. We appreciate your approving those on such short notice, but because of time constraints, we had to do that in a one-day turnaround. So we appreciate the board accepting that. I signed a sheriff's fund distribution form through the Berrien Community Foundation, $1,900 for the No Shave event. And this is a fundraiser for the retired deputy who has medical issues. Commissioner Ott introduced a child protection ordinance to us today. We distributed a copy to each one of the board members. We asked for a week to digest the ordinance, discuss it, and then we will discuss it in our admin meeting at our next meeting. We did ask a couple of questions of Alex, one of which is, do other counties have an ordinance like this? He's going to research that and provide that to us. After we've had an opportunity to, I guess, vet it, beat it up, then we'll move it through the process. That's our report.
Questions for admin? Okay, commissioner reports. John.
I had a meeting of the Board of Health yesterday. We'll have 5 resolutions coming to them for your consideration. One, renewal of the Patagonia electronic management system. That's approximately $50,000. Funding from the state of Michigan for medical marijuana of about $48,000. Data recording system for about $3,500. Change in the complement at the health department to add in a medical assistant. So it's budget neutral. They're they're ending vacant position. So they're just converting that. And then also a fee schedule for your approval for environmental health. That has not been updated for the last 4 years. So much like other county health departments, they're going back through all their fees and adjusting them based on the inflationary aspects everybody has experienced. Also participated in a tour of the jail with some of the local state legislators, participated in the interviews for public defender office, and then also participated in the LPAC Zoom call. So that was my stuff.
Had the LPAC call where we had Prosecutor Steve Perangeli come and give us an update about his work. It's a great meeting. I went to the State of the City for Benton Harbor. Not much to report from that. It was a great speech just talking about how the city of Benton Harbor is a national partner with the White House when it comes to lead line replacement. And they're being used as a model on how other cities are now going to start to replace their lead lines. Had a meeting with mall leadership, and State Representative Andrews was there and Supervisor Kathy Yates. It was a productive meeting, nothing to report out now, but we got more insight into what the plans are for that building going forward and trying to look at those plans and figure out how we can be helpful if we can through the state. Thank you.
After our meeting last Thursday, I attended the public defender director interviews. On Friday, I attended the jail tour along with our state reps and senators. On Monday, I participated in the courts. I've been calling it the court and county. It's actually the court's strategic plan that includes the juvenile facility. Participated in that. On Tuesday, I participated in a road department discussion. And today I'm here, so that's my report.
Monday, I went up to Lansing in the rain and ice and crud. We had a presentation there was our Public Safety and Judicial Committee, and we had a presentation on a Michigan trial court funding. There's a PowerPoint presentation that's available on the Mac site, or I have it, Rayante may have it too. He attended the meeting, and it's interesting reading. You can see the difference between, I think there's 16 states that fund it the same way that we do, and the other states are doing it some way else, but it's coming to a head here in the next couple of years, and you may want to read it anyway, just because it's something we're gonna have to be looking at in the next year or two. And that's all the meetings I have this week.
Like Jim, last week I attended right after this meeting, the land bank meeting actually, and got appointed by our treasurer to be the treasurer of the land bank. I was like, this just doesn't seem right.
I was there, it was a great choice.
Yeah, Dave was very supportive.
I was very helpful.
And then I did sit in on a few of the interviews to listen in. And then on Monday, I had the MAC HHS meeting. I had Brian forward some information to everybody. We had a presentation on Michigan homeless policies and services. I do have that presentation if anybody is interested in it, happy to pass it along. During our legislative update though, one of the things that she updated us on was MAC's overall 6 priorities for the year, and that's what's in that email that we sent out to you. They are Open Meetings Act to get those revisions done. They are going to really hammer hard on that with the legislature and to try and get that adjusted and changed to meet the times. The second item was fair revenue sharing, which is important obviously for all of our counties. Third was the court funding. That's gonna, yeah, like Dave said. Fourth, juvenile justice services, and that includes, they said they're pushing for it to include direct funding for facilities, which was exciting for me to hear because of the work we want to do with our juvenile center. Fifth, veterans property tax exemptions, and basically 5 and 6 and personal property tax exemptions. Both of those are related to reimbursement to the county. Since those things are happening, where does that money come from? It's just a loss to the county. So those are the 6 overall priorities. We're also working on the platforms for the next 2 years during that committee as well. That's my report.
Nothing to report, unlike the rest of you. Geez, you guys are busy.
Nothing to report.
I too attended the interviews for public defender on the interview committee, did the tour for the jail along with the others who have already reported out. And then Monday, I had the opportunity to sit in on a discussion with some of the township supervisors as it relates to broadband. You all are aware that there is an effort within Berrien County for the internet service providers to apply for the Robin grants. And so it was a gathering of those supervisors to connect with our consultant to talk about what we know might be coming from those different ISPs so that they can be better prepared and take it back to their townships to state what they understand, to then determine if they want to write a letter of support, repledge those dollars that were committed to the ARPA subgrant that the county had put forward that closed out in October of 2022. And I will save if there's anything I've missed, Brian. But it was really just an opportunity to sit down with those supervisors, and it was something that was asked of them. So we hope to facilitate that and sit in on it. That's my report.
Do you have anything this morning?
Just as a follow-up, the county's doing our very best to answer the questions of the supervisors. We're going to stay actively engaged with the supervisors so that there is zero confusion as to the Robin process. And we're doing our best to get all of them equal access to all of the information that the county has. So if any of you are hearing feedback from your supervisors, please let me know. We will push the information out to them ASAP. That's it, sir.
Thank you. General public comments. You can go now or you can do other business. Name and town, 2 minutes. If you need 2 minutes. And that's strictly enforced by Mr. Curran, who you may know is a retired state trooper.
It's green? Okay. I brought some maps here, Coast Engineers, we all like maps. There was a folklore about Lake Rhoda. I don't know if any of you hear this folklore, Lake Rhoda? Come on, Commissioner Fraley, anybody else? Well, I kept hearing this folklore. There's a Lake Rhoda. And guess what? We discovered it. There was a Lake Rhoda. This is the map here, and it was a pretty substantial lake.
Wow.
It actually runs here all the way to South County. We saw all the way up through Lincoln Township. It's this blue here. And the center of it, of this lake, was smack dab in Baroda. In fact, where the park is at, which is kind of interesting. We checked the glacial maps. My brother, who's an archaeologist, I showed him, he got excited, and we looked at the glacial maps, and it actually proves that, yeah, this map was correct according to glacial maps. Now, one of the things I kept finding when I was down in these areas is hydraulic soil. That's what us engineers call it. What a farmer calls is prime ag soil. Prime ag soil. That's what you call it, right, John? Prime ag soil.
You called it muck.
Muck. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's highly organic, enriched. It's very spongy. It's a sponge-like soil. For farming, it's great, but for commercial, building factories, housing, roads, it's not so. So what happened to Lake Road is our next map, and Dean overlaid in our office overlaid this, and you see all our drains there. And they drained Lake Baroda. And that's how we now have all that buildable, farmable land down there. The land actually flows, or the water flows down through the Galena River. I'll give you these tributaries, which is a drain. It comes down Hickory Creek, which is one of the main tributaries for that, which is that's a drain. Yellow Creek, or a big metal drain that goes through Royalton. Then a big portion of it actually has these smaller tributaries that move through the city of Bridgman, and it all outlets through two drains. One, this kind of the south side of that, if you take Lake Street, kind of the south, runs through Tanner Creek, which is Tanner Creek runs through Waco Dunes there. It runs along Lake Creek. The other is the Thornton Valley drain that runs down Thornton Valley up through the Grand Mirror South Lake, Middle Lake, and then outlets to the lake level control at North Lake. This is one of the reasons we looked at this is we're going, oh my God, we continue to have problems in this area. Why are we having problems? And we go, well, we heard there's a Lake Baroda. Let's see if that's what it was. And so we pretty much identified these are our problem areas, and they will always be our problems areas because we are draining a lake. So I thought this was kind of a neat little fun fact that I had to share because I had a captive audience here. Yeah, this is the other thing is there's the red marks on the map, and this last map show the original watersheds, kind of how the water, these have been redesigned since we through man changed the watersheds through our drainage, but the red marks are the original watersheds. We're not sure how old this is. We think it's the maps, we think it's way back in the 1800s. So we heard stories, I think when the settlers first came into Michigan, they started to, or in this area, they started to drain that area. So it had been in the early 1800s, before Civil War. Thank you. Did I?
Question.
Okay.
Early commissioners could have gone down by boat from Oklahoma to.
That's right. They could have.
Yeah.
Get to South County. Yeah.
There's something in the Historical Association, the Berrien County Historical Association. They have a book on inland lakes and streams. And they talked about the French, the coureurs du bois, the trappers, and And they referred to parts of this area as terra coupe, a quaking ground.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm wondering, is that part of that watershed? It runs almost the length of the county and these are, the trappers, of course, use the St. Joe
Mhm.
River
Yeah.
quite extensively.
Yeah.
But it made me wonder if that watershed might have been some of that ground.
The hydraulic soil, we call hydraulic, I mean, engineering, because that, from that, but it's a sponge, it's very sponge-like.
Yeah.
If you take that soil and put it and dried it out, it becomes almost like dust.
Sure.
The water, the H2O, the O attaches to the H, the hydrocarbon or the organic material, and that's what binds that soil. It also makes it very enriched. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wondered, because I mean, terra, of course, is land,
Mhm.
and I don't know what coupe means in French, but there is a terra coupe road in Buchanan.
Yeah. Huh.
So anyway, just curious.
It's interesting, I kind of discovered, although I did message the Commissioner Fraley, she just laughed and said, we all knew that down here in Baroda. You just discovered what we all knew. So there's also a mastodon that was found down in that area that now is over, it's over at Andrews, which my brother, the archaeologist, was telling me. So you may find other artifacts down in Baroda.
As long as it didn't have a collar or a leash on it, we're okay. All right,
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Christopher. Any other comments? All right, other business, I think we've taken care of that as well. But does anyone have any other business? Announcements, reminders, next week is picture day, so we're not gonna do committee of the whole. And then looking forward 4 weeks from today, we won't be here. So, we started at 10:31.
One other announcement,
Yes.
BC bid today at
Yep.
12:30.
Okay, it is now 10:59. This meeting was 28 minutes in duration.